Hi, this is Bruce Sugar, recording engineer and co-producer of Ringo Starr's newest EP, Zoom In. And you're listening to the Fab Four Free-for-All.
Welcome to another edition of the Fab Four Free-for-All. My name is Rob Leonard, and I'm today's moderator. Joining me, of course, are my friends and co-hosts, Mitch Axelrod.
Hey.
And Tony Triguardo.
Hello, hello.
And today we're talking about Ringo Starr's album, Zoom In.
Album?
Well, I'm sorry, I keep calling it an album. It's an extended play, damn it. An EP.
Ep. This episode.
Yes, this episode, yes. Because I keep calling it an album, but it technically is an EP. And Ringo has decided instead of putting out an LP or a CD, he will put out an EP. And that's what I think is going to be Ringo's release pattern for maybe the rest of his life. Or at least for the
EPs
next year.
are now his MO.
Yeah, you're right. And it's strange because no one thinks of EPs anymore, except,
right.
If you collected them in the 60s. And then Ringo was in a press conference, and he was talking about how he loved EPs. He collected them all back then. So
well, EPs were with us. I mean, if you were like a new wave fan or anything.
That's right. The new discs in the late 70s. You're right. Yeah.
Huge in the late 70s. Sure.
Yeah, they weren't many of them, but there was a couple of good ones. I remember that. Cheap Trick ones, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
Yeah. So it's a new EP from Ringo Starr, and it's, I have to say, pretty damn good.
Well, let's talk about,
Right. And it's interesting because in the middle of the COVID we're in as we record, there's a couple of songs that relate to that, but not directly. There's also some really catchy songs of Ringo's in there. He does a reggae song. I mean, who thought Ringo would do reggae? And it's one of these albums, EPs, that are very. It's a thought out process, and he's already said the next EP is going to come out in a few months. And of course, the question is, why didn't he just wait for the CD? But I guess he feels that it's better for putting out stuff, which is part of the whole digital monster we feed, as we know is part of that. That it may be better just to feed it on a constant basis, but with less things.
Rob, when he first announced this, that he was doing an EP a bunch of months ago, everybody was like, okay, an EP.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And all right, but you couldn't just, Ringo's albums are never that long. No. So an EP, okay. And we were all a little weary of it, I guess, or leery. And not weary, but leery, because he's been consistently pretty good the last bunch of albums, actually since probably 2010. So he's been good, and we were all a little like, oh, EP, all right, that may be kind of lazy, but whatever. But as he explained the other day at the press conference, he's not, during the COVID, he said he's not touring. He had to cancel 2 tours now.
Right.
So he said, you know what, to keep himself in shape vocally and mentally, he's going to give us, and to connect with the fans, he's going to give us EPs. And like you said, as of this taping, he said he was going to be doing another EP in October of 2021. And he did say that he didn't want to deal with the process of having to do 10 songs because it's a long process. And he said it takes months and months. And this also took months. So he figured he might as well just do them in little spurts. So I think it's a great idea.
The only thing that, and I have to be very blunt here, the only thing that kind of is a little bit off-putting is the price point.
It's vinyl, right?
No, of the CD.
Oh, the CD is also a high price?
Of the CD. The CD is high priced. I don't really understand why you have on an unidentified retailer that usually has a lower end price, why you have a price point of $11.29.
Yeah, because that's what the album would be if it was 10 songs.
Yeah,
right, on sale. Yeah. So that's a good point, Tony.
So
unless he's signing them all.
Oh no.
We all know that's not happening.
But I do have to say that That's odd. And maybe the point is not to be funny, but maybe there really is limited physical product.
That could be. I thought originally he'd said this was going to be a digital only release.
That's what I thought
think
too.
he did originally.
And I think he realized that his fans, which are people our age and who knows, maybe even older, we like the physical media. We like the vinyl. We like the CD. And who knows? Maybe Paul putting out all that vinyl and various CDs. Maybe that said something to Ringo too.
Sure, but right now the last Ringo album and the current McCartney album are lower in price than
What's My Name and McCartney 3?
Yeah.
Are both actually lower in price than the current EP, which is odd.
Also, don't forget, and I'm not justifying this whatsoever, but he's putting out a black vinyl also of it and a red vinyl.
Okay.
The red vinyl is actually even more because I guess the color variation. And he's putting out a cassette. And he himself said the other day, he said, I'm putting it out on cassette because I called up Universal and said, I want it out on cassette because I want it. and they said, okay.
I don't have a system set up to record it from
Well, he probably does.
CD to cassette, so I had to get one for the car, right?
For the car. And I'm going to have 8-track too then.
I'm going to get an 8-track too for the old
remember who had a cassette, a couple of months ago.
Well, Paul did.
Paul did. So maybe that's part of it. We have to say, just on a little sidebar, cassettes are making a comeback.
They are.
There's a certain thing. They never went away for whatever reason. You can still buy cassettes in like drugstores or, usually in a brick. But right now, there is a certain comeback. Not that they're going to come back, I think, the way vinyl has, but there is a certain thing about, I don't know if it's kids getting their parents' boombox or something, but something along the way has said, cassettes are back in business, where actually CDs, percentage-wise, keep going down.
I've also seen a lot of cassette converters now. You could put the USB straight into the player, and it will convert for you. So it must be on the rise, or else why would they bother? And also, they're, I guess because everybody else has a bunch of cassettes, and my cassettes still sound good. Yeah. They really do. So especially the singles.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
For most of you who don't know, a cassette single was just literally like a A and B side of a 45, and those of you who don't know what a 45 is, don't listen to the show. But,
why are you here?
No, exactly. But
we're
the
kidding.
singles I thought sounded actually pretty good because there wasn't a lot on there, so they actually kept their integrity. Yeah. But and the Beatles put out a lot of singles, and McCartney did. So I think nowadays, and McCartney put it out for the Flowers in the Dirt too on Record Store Day.
That's right.
So you're right, Rob. They are making a comeback, and he himself, he told them, "I want it." Per him, the other day.
If they put out 2,000 or 5,000,
it probably won't even be that many.
Probably not, but at least the product's going out there, and at least Ringo's still thinking. Maybe someone's going to buy my stuff instead of saying, like a concert, okay, who hasn't bought my record?
Can you
or who has bought my record? And he points to 5 people.
Can you imagine how confusing it's going to be like 1,000 years from now when like civilization wiped out and they're starting again and they're like unearthing stuff and they're like, cassette. Okay, so this Ringo album must have come out in 1978. It's just going to be what? Like just, with these formats that are like dying and coming back and dying and coming back. It's really bizarre.
Well, they're going to say, wow, nowadays, this is 1,000 years from now. Nowadays, I wonder if this will play on our cylinder.
There you
That'll all come back in 1,000 years.
I wonder if we can just hold it up to our head like everything else and just have the chip play it,
That you know what? I don't want to be here in 1,000 years.
Yeah, really.
If that's gonna happen. I need other stuff
Basically,
on my head.
It's gonna be like, oh, hey, wait, let's listen to Sgt. Pepper. It just did.
Okay, done.
Mind blowing. Literally.
It sounded great.
You take less time to listen to music. Right. But you enjoy it more.
If the chip is here,
Yeah.
Where's the cone for the speaker?
Stereo. No,
I was thinking more the other end.
yeah, there you go.
Let's say it's the nose to be on the safe side.
Yeah, right and left channel.
Very good. Well, that would be good for a Ringo album.
There you go.
The nose.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? This surprised me because in December the first single was out. We won't talk about it yet because Here's to the Nights. We won't talk about the content of it. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was put out the same day as McCartney's album.
It was.
On December 11th. And I was like, oh, you Beatle boys are bickering again. Not bickering, but
I don't think they knew.
Listen, I know. It's just that it was a weird day to put it out because he could have put out the single anytime because it's not
Paul
like
put it out the 18th. Didn't Paul?
Right, the 18th, right?
But it was originally supposed to be the 11th.
Right. I think actually, Here's to the Nights came out the same exact day because
Yeah.
I remember like getting the video and going, "Wait a minute, McCartney's out today," and all of a sudden that was a surprise.
Right.
Ringo's song
here's
comes
to the
out,
Nights.
and I got to tell you, it was good.
Here's to the Nights, though. Was that that was available as a single paid download?
It could
Yes,
be.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. If you ordered, you know what? I have to go back and look. Maybe
It
we're
seemed
wrong.
like it was everywhere, and it seemed like it was free. So, if anything, it was kind of like
I think the video was everywhere. I don't think
it was
actual
everywhere.
download.
I mean, I think these days, I think it's really different from the early days where, you had to worry about there being competition, so to speak. I think now it's almost like, I mean, except for, I'm having a little trouble wrapping my head around the idea that we're getting like the plastic on a band box and the All Things Must Pass box and all that stuff, all within a month and a half of one another.
And
That's
get
a little
back.
bizarre. And we'll get back later in the year.
I know, but still,
But and the McCartney archives,
if there are,
if there are. So I have a little problem with that, even being within a month and a half of each other. But as far as that idea of a Ringo track coming out on the same day as a McCartney album, or a McCartney normal album coming out the same day as as Get Back does or something like that, to me is you're just playing off of it, which I think is
probably.
I
It doesn't matter anymore. It's not like we're running to the store and deciding, what do I do? Do I buy the Paul or the Ringo?
Well, it's also, I think it would also be a failure on their parts to think that something like the Plastic Ono Band box or the McCartney archives, and this frustrates me. I mean, we know we're getting a little off topic, but
that's all right.
It frustrates me when they still put that emphasis on opening week for box sets, for archives, for things like that. I don't think it works that way.
No,
Right? I mean, the thing gets out, it gets excellent reviews, people talk about it, people buzz about it, and then they go and they buy it.
When they can afford it.
When they can afford it, exactly.
Because now it's not like a $4.98 album like Plastic Ono Band. Now it's $154 box, and you may not have it that first week. You might have to wait 2 weeks till you get paid, or something. So, or you might have to wait till your birthday.
It works when it's released towards the end of the year, and Christmas and Hanukkah gifts need to be given out. So
yeah, right.
It's like, well,
Right.
what do you want, Rob? Well, the new John Lennon box set would be nice. Oh, thank you. The new All Things Must Pass box set would be nice too.
And the only thing is that, in terms of those, and I really still would love a Ringo deluxe box, but the 73 album. But, like Tony, you said, the competition. I do think, though, that when you release two major boxes, and don't forget, the early 70s were when the solo Beatles were really prolific.
Sure.
So, it's not like there's going to be a competition between All Things Must Pass box and Ringo Rotogravure deluxe box. That people are going to say, but when you talk about the Plastic Ono Band versus
All Things Must Pass.
And you're talking about $150 each, then it's a question of which one do I buy? Because that's $300.
Do we know the price point and all things?
No. I mean, I think I saw $150 for the Plastic Ono Band.
That's list price. So
it's all going to come down. But all right, let's just say even $100 for each one. Again, especially in these COVID days, and we have to preface that because Ringo made this album in COVID time, and
Right.
and so did Paul and stuff. But we're talking about dollars that not many people have, so it's a tough one. And you have to put it out on the 50th anniversary, but it's tough when you're talking about two major albums in the solo careers of the Beatles.
Yeah,
I
right.
actually well, I mean, again, another topic for another time, but
Yeah.
that idea of a Ringo box set, I've been thinking about it, and it's interesting. It's such a different idea. Box sets of Ringo albums is such a different idea than box sets of John or Paul or George albums.
Maybe not. Yes, you're right.
Some of them.
Yes.
Well, even
Exactly,
Ringo,
Rob.
even that album, because Richard Perry, like with Ringo, the producer takes the reins. Ringo is Ringo's Ringo. He's wonderful. He's contributing. He's doing his vocals, doing his drumming. He's doing whatever he's doing. But with Paul, George, and John records, they are undoubtedly the band leaders when they're making a record. With Ringo, with those seven, I think Ringo has more control and has taken more control now.
Yes.
In these last, which is in
For
my
better or
opinion,
worse.
I think for better. For
better, but definitely
Okay.
better.
I think for better. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Ringo album. I think it's a masterpiece. I think Richard Perry did an amazing job with that record, and so did Ringo. But I think now Ringo is more with Bruce Sugar, with Mark, with Steve Lukather, with whoever he's working intimately with. I think his head, heart, and soul are all in the sessions now.
Yes, the only thing with Ringo though, that and then we'll get back to this, because the only thing with the Ringo album, the selling point there is that it's the Beatle reunion album.
So everybody's on it.
Yeah.
But when you hear the outtakes that have circulated on bootlegs, they're not particularly enlightening.
I still, you know what? Even if we don't get a deluxe box, I wouldn't mind getting a 2 CD set of remastered, remixed.
Yeah, remastered, remix, and the second disc just being, regular
Whatever.
outtakes. You don't have to go super in depth.
No.
Yeah,
Like
even
some
if you do
others.
Down and Out and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
Blind Man, whatever. I honestly, or not Blind Man, but I honestly think that that album does deserve
Right.
some sort of treatment. It does. It does.
It does. That maybe out of all of Ringo's albums.
Well, that's his
just-
All Things Must Pass. That's his
Yeah.
Plastic Ono Band.
I see. Here's what I would do. This is just me. I would do like Ringo rockin' the Apple, and do the 2 rock Ringo albums that were on Apple as a box set with everything. Vienna and Ringo.
Okay.
So, have it
As a
call it
box
73 to 74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ringo, the having all the drink years. I don't know what you want to call it.
Wow.
but I mean, Ringo himself admits he was a little, he was
Pickled.
a little pickled in those years. But
Also, that's one of the reasons he keeps doing these albums. I think part of it is, the one day at a time mentality of a
Yeah.
recovering alcoholic, and doing the albums and the tours. There's something to look forward to. There's something to think about besides maybe getting drunk. Now, not that he would do it at this point in his life. At least I don't think so. But at the same time, it's a recovering alcoholic, one day at a time mentality. I mean, for him to cover one day at a time would be actually a good idea. I'm talking about John Lennon's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
TV.
Well, you're not the theme song of the. This is it. No, but you know what though? I have to tell you, I think you definitely have a point there, Rob.
Yeah.
But as far as
Yeah.
like recording these EPs that he did and will do, and even the albums he's done, there's absolutely no pressure. There is no expectation on Ringo Starr to go to number 1.
No.
With
No.
Paul McCartney, he puts pressure on himself.
Yes, he
Without
does.
And he's
doubt.
still Paul McCartney, and he is. Let's
Yeah.
face it, he's still. But with Ringo, there's no pressure. So whatever he gives us is pure gravy to him. And quite honestly, if it's as good as this EP is, because I really enjoy this EP, I don't mind, and which I love, and I do. As we'll talk about, I love the fact it's 5 songs, because if they're good 5 songs, and I'm not saying spectacular, but if they are even just good, you never have a chance to get bored. You don't. 5 songs,
Right.
it's over, and you go, oh, okay, there was never that one lull song like, on any McCartney, Lennon, Harrison, whatever, or anybody's album where you go, oh, all right, I could skip that one.
Well, it's side one of an album.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. And the way I look at the album or the EP also is, the 5 songs play. Okay, let's hit replay.
And you know what, Rob? I've done that. I've done it a lot, actually.
Yeah, I was very impressed with this album. It's called Zoom In. I called it on my show last night, Zoom In, Zoom Out, which is actually the song.
The title song.
But I was also thinking of Fading In, Fading Out because, it has the in and out there. And then I'm thinking, should I include Down and Out in there too? I mean, I just kept thinking. But it's, to me,
A Man Like Me, A Mouse Like Me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tale of Two Kitties.
What's that?
That has not have been released. That hasn't been released. I'd love to see that. That Living in a Pet Shop song.
Living in a Pet Shop. Yeah, but that wasn't there a soundtrack on Polydor? Isn't that like a $300 record or something?
It was one of those like cassette only deals.
It
or
was.
something.
I think it was cassette only. I think you're right.
Yeah. So
some of our fans just went. We should specify. Ringo did a soundtrack to a cartoon called Scouse the Mouse back in 1978 or so. And there was a song on it called A Mouse Like Me, which he did the real song, A Man Like Me, on a Bad Boy album.
And Donald Pleasance was the one who put it together. Yeah. And if you see it, it's very enjoyable. You wish that, cute. It's like, damn, you combine that with Thomas the Tank Engine he did, you got have a nice thing with the kids.
We all know Ringo's a cartoon.
And then you put in Bruce McMouse.
They put in Bruce McMouse, and
and it's all
Then all the kids drop acid, and everything is good.
Hey, kids don't know what acid
put in as a DVD extra, or one of these what do they call it, the Easter eggs. You put in Yoko's Fly.
Oh, Jesus. No, but you know what?
I don't mean Yoko's Fly, people, where I'm going to get in trouble.
The movie.
There's a film called Fly by Yoko Ono.
But in all seriousness, now getting back to that though, Ringo needs a video compilation.
Yes, well, they all do. I mean,
but
he sort of had it on photograph though. They did a few.
Yeah, but it would be fun to get. It would be fun to get like a handful of the Thomas the Tank Engines, Scouse the Mouse.
Rack
Ringo,
my brain.
What's that?
Rack my brain.
The Cooler.
The Cooler with Paul McCartney. Yeah.
The Cooler with Paul McCartney.
There's a great video compilation for Ringo. Waiting to be done.
Waiting to be happening, right? Yeah.
All his people.
So let's get back to this.
Get them on it.
Yeah.
So you were right, Bob. This is called Zoom In.
Zoom In only, and actually, if you look at the cover, it looks very similar to the same photo session from the last album, which it's not, but it sort of looks the same. If you quickly look at it, you're like, oh, it's not, but it's very noticeable. I want to start off with there's 5 songs. To me, the 5 songs are in opposite order of the songs I like. I like the 5th song the best, the 4th song the second best, the 3rd song still says 3rd, second song is the 4th, and the 1st song, which is Here's to the Nights.
I don't know, 3rd base.
Yeah. So, but Here's to the Nights was the first release. It's a Diane Warren song. It sounds like it should be in a movie, on a movie soundtrack. It has a great chorus. It's catchy as hell. Ringo called in a lot of friends to be on it.
A lot of people.
For the chorus. But to me, it's not the best song on the album. And
it's a good first release, though.
Yes, because not always the best song is the first release on a single. So you're right.
We should say that the lyrics are, here's to the nights we won't remember, with the friends we won't forget. Right. I love that. I mean, Diane Warren is brilliant. And
that's a great line, and it reminded Ringo of all those nights hanging out with Keith Moon and Mickey Dolenz and all the rest of the Hollywood
Hollywood vampires.
The thing is, though, Diane Warren brought him 2 songs, and he chose this one. And what I like about this, it's good timing when he did this, because he put it out at the end of December and right around New Year's, when Old Lang Syne, which this is sort of like that Old Lang Syne kind of song, like a very, if again, not to not to sound weird, like, with the holding up a drink, because we know Ringo's recovering, we understand. But in general, I mean, all friends get together, you hold the drink and you, here's to the nights,
Right.
it actually is a very nice sing song, a sing along
Yes, it is.
song, sort of like La Di Da, and
Yeah,
in
but
that vein. And I love that all the people in there, the even Phineas from, Billy Eilish's brother. But we're talking about, Paul and Lenny Kravitz, and
Right.
Sheryl Crow sings the best on this thing.
yeah,
A bunch of people. What I love about it is the video too. The video that came out was so fun. Paul was having a lot of fun. He did his own part from his, the mill in Sussex, and he's having a lot of fun in the video, but they all are. And I know this is going to sound, like insignificant, but at the very end of this song, Ringo holds the last.
I was going to say that.
And then he laughs.
Yes.
And that is typical Ringo Starr. The no pressure, I can laugh. And you know what? Everybody's going to go, that's Ringo.
but it's priceless though.
It
priceless.
makes the song. Not that it makes the song, but it's his signature. It's not that he laughs all the time, but it's so perfect at the end of this song when he's holding it and showing he could hold the note at 80 and then just laughs, because he's done that on a bunch of songs where he laughs.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's a great song. I think it's like 4 minutes long, but and that's great. And then it just ends with that little laugh, and you just say, that was a good song.
Just to note, we're recording the show a few days after St. Patrick's Day 2021, and I listened to this song, and to be honest, I'm back at a pub in Ireland. It's a very pub friendly song. I think that the idea of pushing this song as a quote jukebox track would be a very, very, very wise thing to do if they could do that.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because it's a jukebox song is what it is. It's a song to put on in a bar when you're having a birthday party or with family and friends and whatever. It's just it's a really well done song. I mean, he is a nostalgic fellow, our Ringo is, and that's a given, and that's been what he's been at for a long, long time. Is the sense of positive nostalgia. He doesn't go around doing I wish things were better like they were in the 60s.
Well, it's all peace and love, and I don't mean that flippantly.
No, it's peace and love.
I mean that very seriously.
But it's that idea that Ringo, it is, and Rob, I think it connects to the one day at a time thought that you bring about too, that Ringo tends to look at things, the glass is always half full for him.
Yeah.
And I don't say that,
I know
in any aspect to Ringo dealing.
No, we're not making a light of any.
No.
But it's a serious addiction, and we understand that.
Yeah, but where I'm going is that to him, in his positive way of looking at things through, and I say this in a positive way, through Ringo colored glasses, the we're gonna be okay, and here's too is not, sometimes you could hear somebody singing a here's to, and it's, well, these days are gone and we'll never have them back again, and here's to those old times that we once had. No, Ringo, when he hits a line like a here's to, it's a here's to, and we still have it and we'll have it again. So I like that.
Well, also, you mentioned the sing-along in the pub thing. Ringo's mom worked as a barmaid, right? Wasn't she? Didn't she work in a pub?
I think so, yeah.
I thought so,
sure.
yeah. So,
I think
that maybe.
I think she might have, yeah.
Maybe it set off a memory of, the sing-alongs, I'm sure, that happened.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, alcoholism idea aside and Hollywood vampires aside, Ringo grew up in Liverpool. There were pubs and sing-alongs, and that's, you go to, anybody knows, our English listeners know, anyone who's been to England knows, you go to the pub, and pub's not like here in the States where you go to a bar and there's all adults. You go to pubs still in England, there's kids running around,
Right, because
it's
a family night out almost.
Family night out, yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
One thing, Mitch.
Sure.
The thing about the note being held, when the first time I heard that, the laughter at the end, I thought was, it was so funny. But it reminded me of when the Beatles were doing With a Little Help from My Friends, and they gathered around Ringo to, because they knew that last note was going to be tough for Ringo, and they all were like supporting him. Come on, Ringo, you can do it. And of course, he does it. And this is a different type of ending, but I thought of that when I first heard it, and the fact that he did hold that note. That's a long note. And that's not an edit or anything. That's a pretty good thing.
Well, yeah, we can assume that.
We assume it's not an edit. It doesn't sound like it.
No, it doesn't sound.
No,
like
it doesn't, because he is wavering a little.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the wavering's part of the fun of it. That's why he laughs at the end.
No, you're right. It's
totally.
It's all fun, and we should say that he wanted a big chorus on this, and he said again we're saying a press conference that he held a press conference on March 18th for this. Rob and I happened to be there, but be there. Zoom in. We zoomed in.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, he did say, because he wanted everybody to know that he got his shots, thank goodness, but he did say that everybody was tested. There were only 2 people in the room with him at any time. They were 6-ish feet apart, he said, but he said he didn't want to seem like that he had any privilege.
Yeah, he was following the rules. Yeah,
correct. So he wanted, and he made a point of that everybody was definitely following CDC guidelines. So that's cool.
To what Rob said, do you think that when he was holding that last note, you think he had Paul up on Zoom going, hey, come on, Ringo, come on, just
you can do it.
You can do it.
Well, one thing about this song, to have all these characters on singing, and they're not all in the room at any time. I mean, that's really. I mean, this goes back. What's the last? We know that Ringo makes the song like basically him and the person one, and that's it. 2 people in the room at the time, and then they build up on it. And Bruce Sugar deserves so much credit to make the way this sounds, because it sounds really cohesive.
Yes,
and I'm very impressed. This is done in pieces, but it comes together very well. I think it's very cool that way.
We should just say the guest vocalists are Paul McCartney, Joe Walsh, Corinne Bailey Ray, Eric Burton of the Black Pumas, Sheryl Crow, Phineas, Dave Grohl, Ben Harper, Lenny Kravitz, Jenny Lewis, Steve Lukather, Chris Stapleton, and Yola. I mean, that's a lot of people. And he said here's to the nights. He had a lot of friends come in, and you know what? It comes off really well. It's a good opening song. I think it's a really good opening song, and I think, like I said earlier, the fact that he released it so close to New Year's Eve was a smart move, actually.
And I have to admit that when I read the list of people, that I didn't know who the last person was.
Yola?
And honest to God, I read it and went, such and such, Ben Harper, Lenny Kravitz, Jenny Lewis, and Yoda. I was like, what? I was like, oh, Yola. I was like,
maybe the Schwartz be with him.
Here's to the nights you must.
Well, most of these people who are on the chorus, he's played on their records at one point.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh.
He has played on Jenny Lewis recently.
Right? And he played with Ben Harper. He's played with Joe Walsh, Paul. Phineas, no. Well, no.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays with Billie Eilish next, because
he does. He did mention on the press conference he was really happy that, because he was on the Grammys,
right?
And he looked amazing.
Yeah, and we should mention he played on Steve Lukather's latest album.
Yeah, he did. So he's 80 years old. He's not slowing down.
But I have to ask, is Eric Burton in a band called the Black Pumas? Or are we noting the fact that in the video Eric Burton is wearing Black Pumas? Like,
it's Burton.
Not his white kids.
Not Burton.
He knows. He's just kidding around.
Okay, just checking, man.
No, so that was a good opening track. It really is. I like it.
I would have had that as the last track, because it's a memory song and it kind of fades off at the end. So that's what I would have done. But it's not a bad song.
Rob, we'll see. When we get to that last one,
so okay,
that's a perfect ender. Also,
I agree. That's why it's there. The second song is "Zoom In, Zoom Out," which features Robbie Krieger of the Doors as guest guitar player, or one of the 2 guitar players. Matter of fact, the song opens and it sounds like Texas radio and the Big Beat, just for a couple of notes at the beginning. And I'm like, where's it? But then it goes away. They didn't go back to the riff.
Right.
So this is a fun song too. My only qualm about it is you have Robbie Krieger on now. He's playing all these fills. Well, let him do 24 bars. Let him go crazy. Now Ringo doesn't have a lot
Yeah.
of guitar solos in his catalog per se, but you have Krieger there. Give him 24 bars. Give him 48 bars. He did Light My Fire, for God's sakes.
Yeah. 50 years ago.
Yes.
Years ago.
More than that.
He's still a wicked guitar
Oh, he
player,
is.
though.
Yeah. It's more than you're
He's
right.
still a wicked guitar player.
So, but it's a pretty cool song. Ben Montench is on it. I like the song a lot. It's very, like I was talking about, One Day at a Time. If you look at the lyrics, very much, enjoy every day. There's something new to be learned, type of attitude. And if you're paying attention to the lyrics, it's actually a very strong lyric.
Lyrically, it's very cutesy.
Yes,
But in the
Yes.
beginning, is it incorrect?
But
With the dragons and Galileo? I know.
No, not
Well, it's
really.
just like McCartney with what
not
dinosaurs
really.
and
Yeah, I mean, I know where he's going.
I know,
I mean, we'd have to do. I'd have to put on my librarian hat and figure it out. But it's very clever. It's very smart at the same time. Like it's cute but there's some aspects to it where like, and I know production wise, but like there's a rotogravure feel to some
sort
of it.
of.
The
It seems
female
sparse.
backing vocals are a little bit hokey-ish in spots.
Oh, I
It
don't
kind of
think
reminds
so.
you, but it works though.
Okay.
Like I'm throwing both of those ideas out at once. It reminds me a little bit of that mid 70s Flo and Eddie, Liza Minnelli, Bette Midler, that gang of backing vocalists, the things that you hear
Melissa
on records.
Manchester, Rita Coolidge.
Melissa Manchester, yeah, right. But it works really well. I love the chorus, but now again, back to where you could do something promotion-wise with an idea. The chorus. Well, I also really love the line, "The end of your nose is infinity." I love that line.
Well,
But
his nose.
What is
But
it? Yeah.
nice. But take that line, "A distant star is reachable,"
Yep.
and have a contest that playing off that line in the title song of the album and
Oh,
do
I
"A
know it.
distant star is reachable,"
I think I know.
and
where
have a
you're going.
contest for somebody to have a private Zoom meeting with Ringo. "A distant star is reachable."
Right.
That works very well, and I can.
I mean,
I'm not. Ringo's never been afraid to do a commercial.
no.
Or be a spokesman. To me, if I'm the people at Zoom, I'm calling them up like yesterday and saying, we'd like to use this song in our commercials for the next 10 years. And
He's not
we'll
wrong.
pay you this much. You don't have to drive in the car with your daughter, or you don't have to, sit there and do
We'll give you
Century 21 or
We'll
whatever.
give you a lifetime
sun
supply of Sun Country coolers. Yeah, there you go. You can wear a leisure suit. Whatever you want to do.
I love my suit.
No, you know what though? Speaking of the lyric, though, that's a great idea, Tony. Actually, but I love the positivity, and when I said this is all peace and love, I didn't mean it like the hokey peace and love. I meant it, all positive. And what I love about the lyrics on Zoom In, Zoom Out, like you said, the distant star is reachable. Every moment is teachable. Love is what it's all about. And then he says, when your journey seems an endless one and fear is hard to overcome, step by step, there you go, maybe the step program, step by step is how you get it done. One day you'll be laughing. I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't written by him. It was written by Jeff Silbar.
Yeah, but
who's
he's
a great bass player. But still, the sentiment is Ringo singing it, and it doesn't matter. He could have chosen someone else's song that maybe wasn't as positive, but this happens to be. I like the song a lot, and I think the lyrics, like Rob said, are definitely. You said they were a little hokey. I think they.
I don't think the lyrics are hokey. I think
just the background vocals,
the backing vocals,
right? But I think honestly, the lyrics are really poignant.
I think they're great, and I think that it's the idea with Ringo, and we've talked about this on other shows, on other episodes too. The thing, Paul got. I mean, and it's not that Ringo's not trying to do different things, different musical styles. We'll see that in a minute, but Ringo is as far as message. Ringo's committed to that message. Paul will you know, on McCartney 3, there were some down ideas, you know, deep down, I mean, there's this, and on all Paul's records, there's moments of sadness or moments of, Ringo tends to just, he's moving forward. He's constantly, and it's a credit to him, especially like you said, at 80, it could start, I mean, he could be writing songs about, "Oi, my joints hurt. Oi," I mean,
I don't think
I'm sure Ringo's not waking up. I mean, who knows? Ringo moves better than I do. That's damn sure. And he's got 25 years on me. But, he could be writing songs about, what's going on now, seeing what's happened to some of his friends in the industry. Who knows? But he chooses, or taking songs like that.
Right. He chooses to be positive, whether he writes them or someone writes them for him.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Also, this is the second song on the album where he didn't write on it.
Correct.
So this is an interesting concept for Ringo, because since Vertical Man, he is co-written like literally every song with whoever he was working with.
Yeah.
Now, partly I remember one song, "Write One for Me," was basically Ringo saying, "Write a song for me," and they turned that into a song.
That's
so
fun.
They gave him credit. Now, Diane Warren once got a credit because she changed "Rag" something into "Rag Doll" for the Aerosmith song, and she got a co-writing credit for it. So you can't complain either way. But it is interesting that Ringo's picking what I think are strong songs to record, and that the fact that being given to him is a pretty good thing also, because a lot of times they say, "Oh, I got a song for you," "Oh, let me pull out the drawer from 10 years ago and I forgot what it was about," that type of mentality. So, it's working very well so far that he isn't writing the songs on this album. And maybe that's why it's an EP. He doesn't feel the pressure that an LP, he has to sit down and then write the songs.
Right.
So that could be part of it.
Yeah.
The third song is "Teach Me to Tango."
And he didn't write this either.
I know.
And he doesn't play, well, I shouldn't say doesn't play drums on it, but he doesn't play much drums on it.
No, he doesn't.
He has, he joked around that it was Sam Hollander had brought him this song where he wrote it and produced it, "Teach Me to Tango," and it was a nearly completed track.
Right.
And Ringo heard it and said, "It needs something here. It needs a fill." So he did a typical Ringo fill, and the credit on the album is Ringo Starr, the vocals, one drum fill.
Right. No, you're
It
right.
actually says that.
He's nothing if not brutally honest.
Yeah,
gotta
but I think
respect
that's
that.
kind of cool.
But it is different. Again, Ringo is, again, it's an outside song, and the track was basically done by someone else, and they said, "Let's put Ringo's voice on it." And Ringo happens to like the song too, so it's not like he just walked over one day. He said, "No, this is for me."
It's Latin, Latin flavored, but then it turns into just rock. It starts off as Latin. It sounds to me a lot like "Choose Love." It does.
It has the same. It has the same feeling where there's at the end of the first verse or something. There's like fill-ins the way "Choose Love" had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
I heard that, but also I love even though someone wrote it for him, I like the fact that the line says, "Hitch a ride with your favorite drummer." That's cool, because he didn't write that. Someone else did it, and it, now it was definitely written for Ringo, because unless he meant Buddy Rich, the old joke.
Right.
But I like we were joking around before the press conference, and I told Tony and Rob that I was going to write this question for Ringo, and I have to tell it now because Ringo has "Tango All Night" from the Fourth. He has "Paso Dobles" from Liverpool 8, "Step Lightly" from Ringo, and now he has "Teach Me to Tango." So my joke was going to be, since you're in such great shape and you have so many dance step songs, can we expect to see you on "Dancing with the Stars" with 2 R's? And actually, the question started to be asked, and Ringo stopped the moderator and said, "I don't have a lot of songs with dance steps." So
Right. Yeah.
I didn't remember. So the second half of the question didn't get asked. But
Hollywood vampire, folks.
yeah, well, but I like it. It's not a great song, but it's not a bad song. it's the third song, so it's right in the middle. It's Dan Brady.
But it's some good guitar playing on
Dan
it, and
Brady.
Yeah.
it's a great, and the sound mixes within Ringo's,
Oeuvre.
way of delivering songs. This fits in. It's not like Reef Martin coming in and saying, "Let's do some weird disco or something."
Yeah, it ain't Tango All Night.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's not.
It's for me, it was not at all what I was expecting from the title. And I do love the fact that, like Mitch said, it starts out a little bit with that Latin feel. I was scared it was going to be Tango All Night too. But I love the arrangement. Great opening. Mitch, did you catch the play on, talking about your favorite drummer, but there's also that play on the postcards from a cabana somewhere in paradise.
And I thought he was going to say postcards from paradise.
So did I.
When I first heard it, he went, and we could send postcards from, and I went, oh no, don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't do
from
it.
a cabana
And he said
somewhere.
cabana. I went, yes, he didn't do it.
Yeah, somewhere in paradise. But he gets it in,
Yes.
And again, the female vocals are a little bit dated, but the whole thing is very throwback. The whole disc itself,
Right.
despite the fact that it's up-to-date production, obviously.
Yeah.
You can hear the auto tune here and there on this track a little bit.
More than the
But
others.
you hear it throughout.
Yeah, but you know what though?
80.
This is one of my favorite recent Ringo tracks. There's something about this track that I love Ringo's vocal delivery on it. I love the
Guitars.
I like the punch to it. Not that I don't, like the EP, but that's the, there's the anthemic aspect of the opening and closing track and stuff. And hearing it again, I think I like it a little more each time I hear it, to be honest.
Reminds me of Smooth
Oh yeah.
by Carlos Santana and Rob
Rob
Dylan.
Dylan? Really?
Yeah.
It does a little bit when he does, give me your heart, teach me to tango.
Yeah.
Okay, at that point, yeah, I'll go with
Just
that.
a little bit of atmosphere like that,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's as good as Smooth,
No,
but
but
it just has a that Latin flair a little bit. But I think it's a good song.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
a
like it
great
too.
track.
The next song is co-written by Ringo and Bruce Sugar. Bruce actually had started the song, and Ringo helped finish the lyrics. It's called "Waiting for the Tide to Turn," and you know what? This
It's reggae.
is a great reaction to this last year of COVID, even though it's not directly about it. If I was making a documentary about the COVID years that we're in right now, maybe 10 years from now, I would definitely use this in the middle somewhere, because a lot of people have been waiting, for COVID to turn, and now we're getting vaccines, but still there's people still waiting. How much longer do I have to wear a mask? Now, none of that is mentioned in the song, but the chorus, waiting for the tide to turn, is all about that. It's waiting for something to change. And I really enjoy this song tremendously. I thought this was the best song on the album or the EP. You got let's see, Burt Sugar on keyboards basically, and Nathan East, who's played with Ringo before, and Ringo drum and vocals, and Tony Chen, who's a rhythm.
He played
reggae
guitar with Bob
guitarist.
Marley.
Yeah, this has some reggae in it.
With some reggae, it's a reggae track.
It's not truly a reggae.
No,
track.
it's not. It's Ringo's version of reggae.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and
drumming wise, it doesn't have the
No,
stop.
but the one
reggae
thing
stop.
that's kind of cool.
It has a reggae feel though. That
Reggae feel, but I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's straight 4/4. There's no,
well,
mucking about.
when he had Tony Chen come in, who played with Bob Marley as his guitarist. Tony said, "Is that?" I quote. He said, "Hey man, that you on drums, man?" And Ringo said, "Yes." And he said, "Great drums, man, very reggae." And he said, "And my heart swelled. It was so great coming from him." So that's kind of cool.
Maybe, I mean, I guess it's more of a straightforward reggae than I think it is then, because I mean,
he said I did my version of reggae. That's all.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Whatever that is.
Definitely got a reggae feel. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. But
Is this any different than Seaside Woman?
Not really, no.
Right. So maybe it is what rock and roll people do for reggae.
Yeah, or I Call Your
released the
Name.
Beatles.
John saying there's a ska middle piece, which
Well, ska's different than reggae.
And ska, that is true ska, because it comes off 4/4.
Yeah,
okay.
That comes off of 4/4. That's
That's
that definitely picks up an offbeat, or it may not pick up all 4/4, but it accents differently through that.
okay.
Right
Okay.
from the beginning of this song, though, Tone, you do hear,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's real reggae or not, I mean, Bob Marley might come back and go, no, man. I'm not
Rub
making
a
fun of
soul,
Bob
man.
Marley.
Rub a soul. No,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm not.
No, but
not
I mean,
take away from it.
It's if you had to describe the track, I would
a
say
reggae
it's
track.
reggae feel. Yeah.
Yeah,
reggae.
my first thing I wrote was Reggae Ringo. I mean,
Yeah.
what I love on this track, I love the horns, even if they're synth. I love the synth horns. I love the organ sound that comes in and out of it.
Yeah.
I always have an issue with and I know Ringo does it all the time, dear Ringo, but I have a problem with name dropping in songs. I always have. So, listen to a little Bob Marley, listen to a little to whatever he says in there. Like I kind of always just go, yeah,
Maybe he did it to justify the reggae part.
Yeah, and again, that's just me. That's like a my thing. And I love the chorus, but I would have liked the chorus better with different verses.
Okay.
I feel
Well,
like
Fair enough.
But by the way, Tony, I got a question for you. You better, you bet.
Yeah.
Mentioning T-Rex and Who's Next. Come on.
I hate it. I hate it. It's
He's always said he hated that.
It's one of my least favorite Who songs.
Yeah. To be fair, Rob, he's said it many times.
Yeah, I hate.
Okay, I never heard him say it, so I know Tony's a big Who fan. So.
You bet for him, and the long and winding road for you. Nobody knows what I hate,
and I can't fight this feeling anymore. Just in general, just that REO Speedwagon.
What feeling is that, Tony? No,
the one that I get when I hear that song.
Kidding.
Makes me want to eat the scenery.
And then we come to the last song, Rob.
The last song is Not Enough Love in the World. Another catchy.
Oh, I love this song.
Big chorus type of song. Steve Lukather brought it in.
Almost didn't make the EP.
What?
It almost didn't make the EP.
Right. He brought it over one day, and Ringo said, we're going to do that. And they had already recorded part of it, or at least written part of it. And Joseph Williams is also on it. I love the arrangement on this song.
Love the arrangement.
It's catchy as hell, man. It's just like, damn, this is a catchy song.
Love the bass and piano part, like that bass piano work that's going on in the lower end. Love the horns again.
Penny Lane.
Totally.
Penny Lane horns. Da, 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 da. It's totally Penny Lane. I'm listening. I'm going, that works so well. It's not a ripoff for Penny Lane.
No, not at all.
Yep. But I'm like, it's the harmonizing horns. And I'm like, wow, does that work on this song?
Yeah, it's really fun.
I love it.
I wrote that and I was like, am I reading too much into that?
No.
But you caught it too. So that's
my God. I caught it right away.
I didn't. So, you're better than me. But
we're not better than you.
I like the sparse-ish ending. I do think it goes on a little long.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's the last song on the EP.
Yeah.
So, and the sentiment, not enough love in this world.
Yeah.
Ringo could say that for 8 minutes, and to him, it wouldn't be too long, because it may be for us, but if you're driving in your car, if I'm in my room listening to it, there's a difference between that and driving in the car. Like if I'm in my basement and I'm hearing it, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll move the Spotify over to the next song, skip. But if I'm driving in my car and it's a beautiful spring or summer day, I don't care that this goes on too long.
And after the pandemic, at one of Rob's famous parties, if we put this on,
where he played the White Album.
yes. But one thing about this song, this would be, he ends his concerts with A Little Help from My Friends. This would be a great song to end with.
He would never take away.
I know that. If With a Little Help from My Friends wasn't so iconic and important, this would be a great way to end the concert.
This would be a great way to end the song, end the concert before all right, now I'm walking off the stage. Now I'm coming back.
Oh, you're right. Before With a Little Help.
You end the set with this, and then you come back and you do With a Little Help.
Yeah, this is definitely, all these songs could fit very easily into an all-star band tour if he chose. I
just was going to ask you that, Rob. What songs? Yeah. I would pick Here's to the Night and this one, and say these could be. You could even open up with Here's to the Nights, or you have it in the middle of your show where everybody putting up the lighters.
But Zoom in, zoom out also works too, because again, it's relevant to now.
Yeah, right, but if you're in concert, it may not be relevant anymore.
Yeah. Well,
True.
Like Waiting for the Tide to Turn is good now, but if we assume that in 2022 concerts will go on and that Ringo will go on, God willing, Waiting for the Tide to Turn is not appropriate anymore.
Right.
It's turned.
that's true. No, you're right. But not enough love in the world is always going
Oh,
to be
that's
appropriate.
a very good sentiment. And Here's to the Nights. That's
yeah, that's true
a
too.
sentiment that is forever. It's
Yeah, so
universal.
You can have either one of those as part of the new All-Star band material, which wouldn't be a bad idea to add some new material.
You're right. Right.
We should talk 2 seconds.
Especially since Luke Luther's on this song. It's like, and he's like a permanent All-Star member now.
Yeah, he's been on a lot.
Yeah. So I good for him. He's one of the great guitar players. Doesn't get the recognition that.
While we are talking about Ringo, though, we should mention 2 quick things. The tour definitely was moved to 2022.
Right.
Check out his website for the dates. We don't have to give those.
They're almost the same as the 2021.
Almost. But and then also the books, and we have to give a shout out.
Right.
The books Ringo Rocks 30 Years of the All-Stars, 89 to 2019, is a beautiful book. It sold out the regular $40 edition, and now it just was put back in print. They do have some $495 signed versions, the deluxe version, and I'm going to give a shout out to Julian's Auctions, who gave us a signed book. All of you, we raised $1,430 for the Lotus Foundation.
Yeah.
All of it went, literally all of it, actually more. We donated whatever fees were put in by your donations were covered by us. So it's quite honestly, it's a great book. It's beautiful color. It would be, it's very big, very thick, very heavy. And for $40, it's totally worth it. It's got incredible pictures of every All-Star band member and beautiful pictures of Ringo.
Yeah.
So I think
and we should mention that we're not going to be auctioning off a copy of the 10 years of Fab Four Free for All book next year, but
we may.
We might. Just incredible photo book for you.
We'll have to pay you.
Well, first of all, who's the only one taking pictures of us, Tony? Your wife, Winnie, who takes great photos of us.
Wait, time out. You don't understand, Rob. Winnie, every week, Winnie's been taking shots of, she's been not here with us, but she's been taking shots of the screen. So anytime we do this, that's going to be in the book. So everybody, Winnie, ready?
Screenshot. There you go. Great.
I would only hope that Woody would do that.
But
So,
you know what? What do you really want to rate the EP or not?
I give it a 8.5 to 9. I think it's 5 songs, so it's a different rating system, and I like all 5. So I really enjoy this. I was very happy with it. I hope he writes more songs for the next EP, but if he doesn't, I hope the songs he plays or picks are as good as these. So,
Tony?
No, you
Okay. I will say in the press conference, someone asked him, not me, because I asked him 10 years ago about country, and he said there will be no country on the next one. But he said, if I'm doing EPs in the future continuously, he said, I could easily see doing a full 5-song country EP. So I would hope he does. As far as this, what I love about this, it's 5 songs. They're very diverse songs. You don't get a chance to be bored. And I really enjoy it. Like, look, if there was a ballad maybe that he didn't sound good on or something, you go, okay. And it was the 3rd song, you go, all right.
Right.
There's nothing of the 5 bored me. Everything kept my attention totally. And I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking at it. I'm just doing the statistically and balancing and all that. And I'd say I give it an 8. I give it an 8.
That's fine.
A really enjoyable. It's just it's an enjoyable piece of music, just to
really
listen to. I listened to it the first time and I'm like, am I going to go back to this? Really? I listened to it the second time and then I listened to it the 3rd time today, and I was kind of just going, yeah, like 3 of these 4 songs I will go back to, and the other one I like very much. There's one that's a little shaky, but it's okay.
Yeah, you know what? This is like we always say, albums remind you of a season.
Mm-hmm.
This is as of this taping, in March of 2021. It's turning spring.
Yeah.
And this is going to be something in my car for spring and summer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Definitely
you say
has that feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
a good
interesting. It's a spring record. Yeah, good point.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
So anyway, that just about does it for our review of the Ringo Starr EP called Zoom In. I've been your moderator today, Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, has been Mitch Axelrod.
Take care, folks.
And Tony Triguardo.
See you, gang.
Peace and love.
And
we should do it.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Everybody, Tony, come on.
Fab 4 Free For All was edited and produced by Tony Triguardo at Word of Mouth Studios in Westbury, New York.
The opening and closing theme is My Dolly by the band The Badge, featuring longtime listener Jeff Slate, available on its debut album Digital Retro and recent Best Of compilation, as well as from the Fab 4 Free For All website.
Thanks for listening to Fab 4 Free For All.